All right, what's up, Fit Fam? We're here for another episode of Save Yourself Podcast, and I'm with my co-host Gerald Hunter, and today we have Julia Seberg in the house. She's responsible for the day-to-day content we're putting up, Train with Biggie, that kind of stuff, and terrible. That's his phone.
Cut that.
No, don't cut it.
No, that's wrong.
edit
That's
it.
wrong.
Yeah, that's raw, right? The last episode we spoke about, being consistent, having the mental stamina to not worry about being great every single day, but just being good every single day so that you can, damn, bro, turn that
That's what I
shit
said.
off, man.
I gotta go get it.
Go get it then. So it's really in how that translates into everyday life. But what I can promise you is that if you don't have a strong why, a strong reason that's really important to you deep down, you're not going to stick with it. And I see this all the time being a trainer for 30 years. People come in my office and they're like, oh, I just want to look better. The problem with that goal is you're going to start looking better if you're following a program that's accurate, that's well designed in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks you start looking better, but you're nowhere close to the real goal. And it's like the same thing if you're in business. If you don't understand your why and why you're striving, what you're truly striving for, you have a couple weeks of success and then you're out spending the money. And it's because you don't really have your understanding of what your true goal, what your what you're really trying to achieve. So that's the most important aspect of trying to go after anything and really achieving success. So, Julia came to me, and why don't you tell them why you came to me?
Well, way back when, I had a lot of health issues, a lot of seizures, crazy allergic reactions. I would go into anaphylaxis a couple times a week. Like, my life, I just felt was over, literally. And I really had no hope at all. And the only thing that brought me out of that was the Lord. But He gave me my health back. He really did. And I do struggle with some things here and there, but it's nothing like what it was. And I want to show people, one, prayer works. Like, prayer can get you anywhere. There's no limits. And two, people that take their health for granted, I want to show people, don't take it for granted. Like, if you can reach your full potential, reach it. Because there's people that are sitting in bed wishing that they could. And now that I have the gift of my health, I want to take it to the full potential. Because that's the gift that I was given, and why wouldn't I do anything with it? And I want to show people, like, what health is too. I'm a woman, and I struggle with body image issues, like I think every woman does. But there's a healthy way of doing that. And I just want to show, like, you can get to look at yourself in the mirror in a confident way and looking at your beauty in a healthy way and being proud of yourself while doing it.
It's dope. It's dope. You're a woman? I didn't know you were a woman.
Yeah.
No. That's really, that's awesome. And what it reminds me of is that, I have a client who was just talking to me today, and she's a dance instructor. And one of her older clients, for no reason, just out of the blue, got to a point where he can't talk and can't move, almost like a paralysis. And his day was great yesterday, walking in the park with his wife, and he wakes up this morning and he's doesn't know why, and they're trying to figure out what's wrong with him. And it makes you go, like, I got up today and I'm only a few weeks out from my show, 5 weeks to go from the Masters Olympia, and I did wake up today a little bit sour, like, just cardio, low carb. But then I hear that story and I'm like, nah, man, you got to remember, I get to do this. And instead of looking, and my big thing nowadays is really try and look at every situation for what's right and not what's wrong. right? And G and I started back in 2021 because we were kind of going through similar things in our lives where our lives were changing and not necessarily for the better. And then we found each other. No, we came together and go take it from there.
Yeah, we came together. I don't know, man.
Why you always slow, man? What's up? Stop partying on the weekend, bro. Wake up.
Still at the beach. But no, us coming together was a good thing for me because I struggle with crazy divorce situation, life situation, and everything started to happen in a chain effect. It's like a chain reaction. So started with like COVID happening, heart surgery happening, then divorce, then rebuilding my shop, and having all these different challenges. And the one thing that I could stand on to where I can control before the emotion is, just going to the gym every day and training and working out. So finally when me and Fred met up, I had a conversation with him and I would just like slowly share with him a little bit of detail as time went on. And he was like, oh, me too. And we wound up training together. And our personalities kind of helped forget about some of the things that we went through in the past on top of the training. So when we got to the training part and build that bond, it was an unbreakable bond for me mentally. And it created my why, it created my purpose. Get up in the morning, go to work, listen to his stories about business when I share to him, share with him like, how did you get out of this situation? How did you bounce back from your employees not being available and so on and so forth? And every single day when I go to sleep and wake up, and some days I don't feel like going to work, some days I don't feel like going to the gym, but I always play back to the stories that he told me on how he became more and more successful every day. Even if it wasn't successful, he still kept going. And that's the thing, you don't want to be a used to. You don't want to stay down and do nothing, because the more you stay down and do nothing, it doesn't solve anything. It keeps you, bonded into this dark life until you do something about it. So you train, you're around positive people, and you see people who start where you're. It's a testimony, just like your testimony. You come out of it. Our lives are like books, and every single day, week, month, year, it's a new chapter that you elevate, and the book gets better and better, no matter what the story is. So I think, that's kind of like my why. My kids, of course, too, even though they make me upset, but I have to be around long enough health-wise, and I want to live as long as I can to see them grow up, get married, things like that too. So, and then later on in life, they can say, "Hey, Dad, I remember this," but at the end of the day, you're the best dad you could possibly be.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
And your why will become fluid, right? Like, for me, when I first started, it's because I saw this beautiful image of Flex Wheeler, and I had this desire to be on the Olympia stage. And I've had so many key moments in my career where I could have taken the easier route. I won the NABA Mr. America, and they offered me a pro card. And I almost took it. But because I had that why of being on the Olympia stage, I said, no, I'm going to wait. Right? And it took me another 3 years before I got my IFBB pro card. And once I got that pro card, people would say to me, man, you did 6 shows this year, 7 shows this year, and not easy, but I knew the why was to be on the Olympia stage. And so I did whatever it took. And, I was obsessed with the why. And yeah, there's, you make some money, you get some attention, you're sponsored and all that stuff, but the goal was to be on the Olympia stage. And the one thing I want to caution you is when you really set that why, you think about it so deeply that it like you become obsessed with it. It burns deeply in you. Make sure you set the goals high enough, because for me, I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish in bodybuilding. But if I had set those goals higher, maybe I would have been top 3 at the Olympia or won the Olympia. I never set the goal for that. My goal was to win a pro show, right? And I've won 2. My goal was to make the Olympia, and I mean 3, qualify for 4, get in 3. You know, my goal was to win the best poser at the Arnold Classic. We did all those things. But what if I had set those goals to every year I'm going to win a show? What if I set that goal to every year I'm going to be better and better on the Olympia stage? Like, all of those things are important when you're starting out, because when you're hungry and just starting, that's when the desire is going to be the highest. It's sometimes hard without some sort of pain to jumpstart a goal, right? Like it's you know, in business, you're doing well, and then bam, something hits you, and you got to redirect that goal. But normally it comes with some sort of pain that you're like, this is never going to happen again, so you reassess your goal, right? When things are going good, it's hard not to sometimes sit there and look around and go, man, I've been hovering in this situation for a minute. You know, have you experienced anything like that on any part of your life?
Yeah, like, sorry, I'm having a ask me first.
I always say just like you said, just do what makes you uncomfortable to make you successful. Someone great told me that. This guy here, Fred, he told me, he said, you have to do things that make you uncomfortable, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your business, anything in life. That's what's going to make you uncomfortable. As a kid, you know, you're always told, hey, you know, you lose this game, you get back out there and keep playing until you win. You get into a fight, you go out there and fight until you win. No matter what the situation is, there's always your pros and your cons. You got your villain and you got your superhero. But at the end of the day, you have to keep going in order to succeed in anything in life. I mean, I know for me, like I said, the doctor told me when I had the heart surgery, don't ever go to the gym and work out again. And I used to remember watching C.T. Fletcher's videos all the time, especially when he went through the heart surgery, just to, you know, one, I was watching like, all right, hopefully he lives so that way I can live, to find out what's the chances of dying versus living. I remember the doctor telling me when I asked him that question, like, what are my chances of living after this procedure? He said, that's between you and God. And that's deep. That is terrible to hear. So my personality, I just went in it with a positive personality, and my favorite scripture is faith without works is dead. And you have to have the faith in order, you know, and you have to put that work in along with that faith in order to succeed in anything. Mine was to succeed, to live at that moment. So when I went in there in the operating table, you know, I was still being me, joking and playing when I was in there, trying to block out all of the things that they were telling me and how this was going to work. And 4 hours later, I wake up, felt like 20 minutes. And there was a lot of pain, but I was alive, and that was the best thing. Then the next thing after that was, you know, you got to start walking. You got to do all these things. And for me, because I had a lot of muscle tissue, it was more painful than a person who didn't have that. So then the doctor's telling me, just walk. And I'm like, forever? He was like, yeah, I don't want you doing any hard straining, hard pushing. And I remember telling him, I'm going to die if I don't go to the gym. You know what I mean? And then he just was like, well, that's your choice. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, I chose to come here because this is what keeps me alive. This is what keeps me going. Full circle, though, mentally and physically. So, you know, you can't stay where you are. You gotta keep going and understand your purpose in life, so that way you can succeed.
And even with the fears, I would say there's a lot of fears, like with my situation in particular, you know, I have that voice in my head, like, what if you go backwards? Like, what are you going to do if, you know, your issues start coming back? You know, the gym's not going to be there anymore. And, you know, because this is my favorite part of the day. Like, this is my favorite place to be, and Fed is my favorite person. And I just, like, this is everything to me. Like, this has become such a big part of my life, and I know I'm only at the beginning, and I'm so excited for, like, where we're going to go with this. But you do have that fear of, like, well, what happens if, you know, something happens again with your heart? You know, what happens if things get back? And I think, you know, with shifting your goals and, like, with where you are in the moment, taking it a day at a time and just knowing, like, showing up and doing your best that day is the best that you can do for yourself. You know, because you did something. You know, it's better than not showing up at all, and just not letting that fear get to you and that anxiety, because 9 times out of 10 it's not real. You know, so.
Yes, fear, false evidence appearing real, stops more people from hitting goals, being successful than anything else. And, you know, the one thing I would say is, whatever you're going through, as long as you don't quit, I promise you, God is going to give you something better, bigger, and more powerful in your life on the other side of it. You know, I had a major, a major obstacle, hurdle to overcome. You know, I, like, got top 5 at the Masters Olympia in 2023. I come back on cloud 9 to face one of my biggest challenges when I got back. And if I had to lay down, let that disappointment and almost like a full-blown betrayal overtake me, I wouldn't have experienced the many blessings I've experienced through that time. And, you know, I've always been in the mindset that I'm too stubborn to fail. And it's just not, I don't even know what that is. And as long as I keep trying, whatever it is, as long as I keep moving forward, it's impossible. I'll get better some way, somehow, and something positive's going to come out of it. So, you know, in your life, if you apply those principles that we're talking today about, you know, just establish your why and be relentless in your efforts to attain it. Big things, better things, amazing things will happen. And let God help you with the stress. Give it to God. It makes it so much easier. Because the things you control, what you can control, but there's some things you can't. You gotta let God have that. And live in gratitude. Be thankful for every day. Look at your situation and think what's right with it, not what's wrong with it. And I promise you, every day is gonna get better, because that energy is gonna come back to you. So.
Let the church say amen.
Save Yourself Podcast. Comment below. Let us know what questions you might have. Click the bell. Give us a thumbs up. Share it. Peace.
Tired out there, huh, friend?
Just means I got to practice posing more. But so we are 5 weeks out from the Masters Olympia. We're going to Japan.
Oh.
And, you know, God willing, we'll bring a better package than last time, which we were top 4. So we're going for that win. We've been training hard, as you can see. We're doing basically 3 feeder sets of 6, 2 really hard sets of 8 in the training. No more than 1 set to failure. And that's been paying big dividends. I've actually grown into this show as I've gotten leaner, put some size on, staying full, staying dense, injury-free, which is the key. And training more like a push leg, pull leg type of split, and then a little bit of overall upper body on that 5th day. And that's been really good, so we're not annihilating anything on any one day, but stimulating things multiple times during the week. It's just allowing us to get stronger, grow a little, and not create so much fatigue that we're going backwards. feeling like overtrained, always motivated to get in the gym, which is huge. And, when the calories get low, having that motivation to get in there and still kill it is super important to maintaining density as we get closer to the show. So stay tuned. We'll be dropping these episodes week to week. And watch my journey. I appreciate you. Comment, let me know what you want to see. Like the video, please share it. Subscribe, hit the bell. Appreciate you. Love you. Peace.